Here we are. Welcome to Unshamed. Thank you for spending your time here. Thank you for being with me. The intent of this class is to bring to you what shame is to the human perspective and to the soul's perspective, where it comes from, how to deal with it, the role it plays in your life, and some of the benefits that you can actually get from shame, which you wouldn't really think there are any, but there always are. So I'm Tanya Kaepernick. I work in the realm of spirituality, and you are the universe in human form. You're the soul experiencing this planet. I work a lot with inner child and helping people move through seemingly traumatic childhoods, having abusive parents or emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. I also help people expand their consciousness. There's quite a few things that go on, and shame is one of those really, really subtle underlying, excuse me, topics. Right, you can tell it already wants to get going. And shame, this is so interesting. So shame actually gets stuck in a lot of people's throats. They don't really understand what's going on, and it interrupts their authenticity. So the authentic expression of your soul, which I call the inner child or your high self. A lot of people refer to an inner child as, that childlike part of you, and they refer to it as the human childhood. But childhood for the human and what's coding in our brain and how the child's brain is learning how to adapt and fit into society, versus the inner child being your never-ending magic, always in the moment. Everything is possible. I came here to live this life grand and free and fun and fully express who I am. That is your soul expanding itself always. And so, funny enough, shame is one of those things that gets stuck in people's throat and stops them from being authentic. It is an adaptive quality that we learn as children. And when we come to this planet, it's widely, it's a widely used parenting tool to shame people into doing something. It can be done accidentally. It can be done on purpose to use to control behavior of children because it works. It can be brought on by religions or just thinking that children should be seen, not heard. Like, there's all kinds of reasons that shame has existed. But the biggest reason, like, we can spend a lot of time kind of getting into where it come from, but to me, it's just been handed down. It's just been something that people have been doing and doing and doing and doing and doing it so much that they don't even realize it. Kind of like how we blink or walk or talk. It comes automatically and it comes from the subconscious. Now, when something's coming from the subconscious, it's telling me it was rooted in childhood. And more often than not, when it's passed down from person to person to person, it's because it's somebody's master energy. Now, what do I mean when I say master energy? Well, as children in childhood, your inner child, meaning your soul, really adapts to the energy of this planet because we're energetic beings, right? And everything here is energy, right? Like, this is energy, my body's energy, my body's a physical walking, talking translator of energy, but energy nonetheless, right? Even what's going on here, you're hearing my voice, your eardrums are translating the vibration that, right, I'm making through my vocal cords, and your eyes are translating rods and cones of light into a meaningful picture, into something that's tangible and that can kind of be touched. And we're here experiencing this. And a master emotion as a child will be a main emotion that you attach to, that you bring through your energy field. So it's a major, major player in your energy field, and you'll bring it through your energy field and you'll project out of you. You'll wear the shame glasses, right? You'll project out of you this energy that says, I'm shame, right? It's how you'll process things, is through this. And shame is there's a lot of different definitions. This is just mine and what feels true to me. So if yours is bigger than this, I'd love you to share it with me. Always welcome to share this kind of stuff. I love hearing from you guys. It helps move these into bigger directions and helps me understand what kind of information to share with you. But shame is not that action that I did was bad or maybe inappropriate, because your child, you're learning, right? You don't know that it's inappropriate to hit your sister when she's making you mad, because honestly, it probably feels really, really good. Your sister, your child, your sister's over there really irritating you, so you swag her and she stops. Yeah, man, that feels good. But then we get shamed because, well, I mean, accidentally your parent could have blown off the handle or could have told you you're a bad boy. And the child will take information in and decide, I am bad. Especially when it comes to discipline from a primary caregiver. So when we get discipline from a primary caregiver, because we cannot stop loving them, we stop loving ourselves. So we detach a little bit from our souls and we decide not the action was bad, but that we were bad. And this comes so innocently from caregivers, just so innocently. It could have been coded in their energy. They could be tired, they could be overwhelmed, they could be stressed. The whole planet right now is majority programmed to be this way, right? And we're sitting in a lot of stuff that's not easy for people to get. And even sometimes just the child comes through it innocently, even if the caregiver is very easygoing on them and just slightly explaining, like, you can't do this, children will feel shame. And it doesn't just sit with that one experience. There's a lot of different experiences that can attribute to us feeling shameful. A lot of us, like a lot of children, have been caught playing with their bodies, and that's been something shameful and something dirty. Or we've been, what else have we been doing? I don't know, all kind. Maybe you were caught taking something that wasn't yours or speaking out of turn. The situations that we engage the emotion of shame are completely endless. But when the child decides that it was bad versus the action was something to maybe modify or do differently, that's when it becomes your master emotion. And so again, everything will come through. And it's quite easy to see this in our own lives or when it happens to children. It seems like if they get any kind of correction, then all of a sudden they're like, well, what's the point? I can't do anything right? It comes out, it gets expressed as, I can't do anything right. Things feel hopeless. I shouldn't even try. There's, new ideas come and it'll get tossed out because that will never work. These are different ways of knowing that shame is in there with you. Blushing, getting embarrassed about something can be, not always, can be a bit of a shame programming, right? A lot of the times too, what's really, really interesting is we feel embarrassed and a little bit shameful when people see good in us, especially if you grew up in maybe a rough family where there was lots of yelling or lots of fighting, or you decided that you were bad. If you decided that you were bad, when people tell you that, like, they give you a compliment, you'll be uncomfortable with it a little bit. And that's like a little bit of shame sitting there just in that underground saying, well, no, I'm really not. I'm really not. It's an interesting one, right? Like, that one kind of makes you think. Like, I don't know about you guys, but there's definitely times in my life where I look at people and I'm like, I am way more comfortable with you maybe correcting me, being a little bit harsh, than it is for you to be like nice to me. It's kind of a weird thing, right? But it's like that little bit of underlying shame. Not always, but it is a point to be aware on and reflect in, right? Like, that's a really great time to kind of sit with that and try those possibilities out, because that's what we're really doing too on on a soul level is always trying to find that little teeny tightrope that we're walking, right? It's like, am I feeling this, or is this connected to something else? And it's just like it's like a little tightrope game. And sometimes, yeah, it's what you're feeling. Sometimes you're going to lose your balance and be like, oh, no, that's not what I am, or it is. But it's a really great point of reflection to kind of sit back and see, where am I feeling? And when we go through our days, it's really quite easy to keep a little notebook when stuff comes up and tick it off, be like, oh, yeah, there we go. I felt something there. What was that little nugget? Right? Like, what was I feeling there that maybe elicited this? There might be something there for me to kind of look at. And welcome to a great segue of one of the benefits of having shame. This is so exciting. So exciting. So when we have emotions like shame, like we've decided maybe as a master emotion, or not even just a master emotion, but it comes up too, like it can come up in little tiny areas, like instead of taking everything in from one perspective, just in one situation, you've decided that you're not enough, or that you are bad in that situation, right? And so it'll just come in like a little bit, just like sometimes, not all the time, but it'll just kind of like come in there sometimes. And that's one of those places where it's like, oh, okay, cool. I have like some weird idea here. And those are sneakier to find, but when you address them, they disappear quite easily. Changing your master energy takes a bit of a different focus than it does to change like a little nugget that's stuck in your energy field, almost like a little, almost like a little balloon, like surprise Pop-Tart. It's like, oh, just a little pop up there. Oh, I can prick that easy, kind of slough it off, focus fairly quickly, write a few intentions, change my mind pretty quick, where a master emotion takes a bigger shift in perspective to switch. So the really, really great thing about little nuggets of shame is that they're showing you where you're holding a limitation. It's showing you where you've got some weird idea or some situation where you coded into your field that I'm not good enough or I'm bad. And thankfully, these things show up, because when they do, when these little pieces show up, that's how we get to navigate. Oh, there's a human perspective there, which shame, I'm bad, I shouldn't have done this, or I'm not enough. That is a human thing, by the way. Your soul definitely never feels that, ever, ever. We'll get into that a little bit more. So many fun things to go over here, right? Like so many cool things. But you'll back to the shame thing. It's getting there. Creative people, right? There's a lot of things to go over. But it's like this really great roadmap to inside of you. Sometimes some people feel it in their bodies. Some people feel it in their thoughts. Some people feel it in their emotions. There's all kinds of different things. Part of the reasons where somatic expression is coming up with is some people feel their emotions and their thoughts directly in their body before they kind of have a mental awareness of it. And that's super cool, right? Like maybe you're the kind of person that needs to move to get through things. I'm definitely a physical person going through anger or shame or regret or any of those human emotions. To move them out of my energy field, moving my body works extremely, extremely well. And there's all kinds of different ways to process this. So you might, shame for you might kind of come up in your cheeks. You might blush a little bit when somebody says something. You might have a thought to it, right? You might feel a little blocked or a little numb. Could be a twinge on your body. There's all of these really, really cool little indicators that help you figure it out. And one way that it's going to help you process is moving out of shame. Because when we're in shame, when we have that perspective, when that's stuck in our energetic field, with a little popcorn, a little Pop-Tart one, or as your master energy field, something you coded as a child, that's part of your main way of feeling, either one, when we feel shame, it tends to radiate through our entire energy field, right? You become it in that moment. How long it lasts? Master emotion means it's always there. A little Pop-Tart means it'll kind of come and go. But the moment we're feeling it, we're radiating it. And what happens is you're either master emotion or Pop-Tart emotion, everything you can see is coming through. Everything you're translating is coming through here. That's where the master emotions and motion and other stuff kind of come together, is you have those glasses where everything coming out of you is shame, right? And so it's like it's gonna tell you again, right? Like, I can't do this. I shouldn't even try. Oh, it's gonna be kind of hard. Like, there's all kinds of reasons for it. But when we move that, when we take these off, when we take that filter off, when we take those glasses off of seeing that and feeling that and being that, stuff can come in and you can be excited about it, right? Like, oh baby, you can be really excited about, like, yes, there's that piece of shame. Oh, I'm gonna work on that so hard. Okay. And so here's one of my favorite examples of this. And use whatever sports works for you. Use something that really excites you. Find an example that really, really excites you, because this is going to help you switch it. So I'm a mountain biker. I'm into mountain biking. I really love mountain biking. This means going up on a chairlift or a shuttle and coming down some gnarly pass. Like, they twist and they turn, or there's roots or there's rocks, and there's a high probability that you're gonna fall off your bike, that you're just gonna eat it, right? What I call eating it. You're just gonna eat it. And there's various degrees of stitches and broken bones and all of that kind of stuff. But it's an extreme sport. And when you play on your own level, it's not that bad. But I was going down a favorite trail of mine. I was on a brand new bike that somebody was letting me demo. And man, I felt like invincible on this bike. And I was up in my head trying to figure out how to buy this bike, not paying attention to where I was going, and ate it. Like, I ate it hard. And thankfully I wear a full face helmet, right? But I got up off my bike and I got back up and just kept going. And I started laughing to myself, because I was like, yes, that was so awesome. Like, I just ate it on Gojira. That's the name of the bike. And like, oh, it was like so cool. I was going down. I was like doing my thing. And like, I ate it on something super stupid. I don't even want to admit what I ate it on, but because I can laugh at it, because it was something funny, it just came to me. It's like, well, maybe if I start looking at different things in my life this way, maybe if I started looking at stuff where I felt shame before, where I could be like, you'd start to laugh through it. Because when something's coming, here we go, I'm reeling into the point. I promise you, I'm getting there. When you're bringing something into your field, you're going to feel that initial point of shame. Like, you're gonna feel it because it's already there, and so it's activated. But when you can grab something else, like for me, it's like falling off the mountain bike. It's like, okay, here, I'm eating it. This is that shame activated again. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to see it. I'm going to play with it a little bit. I'm going to hop back on my bike and I'm going to redirect this energy. So I'm going to purposely pick another way to feel about this. And so I'm pausing there. I'm even holding my breath, which is ridiculous, but I want you to, like, do you get that? Do you get that? Like, we have the power to just switch our emotions. And this is where the resolve is right there when we swap it. It can be done through sitting and processing and like journaling and all of that kind of stuff. However, in my experience, I find that makes it worse. I find that just makes bigger holes to do. Maybe you got my email where I'm like, what if your block is that you think that you have a block and that you need to work on your block? And how we make things bigger and how these can actually be stuff that digs our hole even deeper. This is one of those things. And it's appropriate to feel it, but it's also appropriate to switch it. Be like, okay, oh, there's a bit of shame there, right? Like, oh, there's something there, but it's like, oh, this is for me. I'm going to see the gift here. I'm going to pick to be grateful. If you can reach that one authentically, awesome. You can't always, but that's why I pick mountain biking. So here's something really fun. If you are, it's co-regulating yourself. So for the parents out there, if you've had toddlers or if you haven't, when your toddler loses it, like when they completely freaking lose their mind, they have zero access to a rational brain, zero. It's all like limbic back here, like, and they're like crying and they're freaking out. You're like, yeah, it really sucks not having that blue cup, right? Like, I don't know what to do for you. But that's kind of what it's like. But as a parent, co-regulating means when we have the ability, we don't always have the ability, but when you do, right? You're like in that really good space, you got the ability, you can look at your kid and be like, oh, and like you can show empathy for them and understand how they feel, that's a really big deal for them in the moment, whatever it is, however it's working for them, man, like that is a big freaking deal. And when we can sit there and be calm, the calmer we are, the more compassion we can show to these children, not feeling sorry for them, but just looking at them and being like, okay, and like letting them do that. It co-regulates their brain, meaning they can better calm down when we're calm, right? They can manage themselves better. And so this is where I pull up that mountain biking example. So if an emotion is showing up for me, like shame or like whatever it is, because we're talking about shame. If like a shameful thing shows up for me, I co-regulate it with mountain biking. Like, oh baby, I just ate it. Yes, there's something for me to pay attention here. So there's maybe an intention for me to set here. There's another way for me to look at this. There's maybe there is a little bit of journaling I need to do to figure out how I feel and how I can switch my emotion here. Maybe I need to move my body here. Maybe I need to do, but it's, so when you start co-regulating by bringing the laughter of something else into something you really love. And it can't just be like like I really like chocolate or like I really like taking a walk. It's got to be like it's got to be something that unseats that shame emotion. Like it's got to just like kick it out of its spot and wake up your soul. So mountain biking for me is it's because it's so high adrenaline, because I do need to pay so much attention. That kind of stuff is something I can really whip into my awareness. Or for me, like going down a water slide is like that. I had a fantastic birthing experience with my second son, and that, like, giving birth is a highly emotional thing. So I remember something that was really so highly emotional, it can kick out the shame, right? It can co-regulate it and it can unseat it really fast. I'm like, okay, this is like, yeah, like maybe I'm eating it here, but that's really funny to me. And that's really engaging. And oh my gosh, I can laugh at myself so hard. And laughter is one of the one of the best things to do, because when you're laughing, tension is gone. Try to lift weights when you're laughing. Listen, do me a favor. Don't try to lift heavy weights when you're laughing. But if you try to lift weights when you're laughing or do something strength-wise, you'll notice that you can't, because all of the tension in your body is gone. And when our tension is gone, it's easier to release stuff. So low emotions like shame really crunch up our energy. But if you can find something that will really unseat it, sometimes there's a comedy thing that will unseat it. Like I find there's Peter Holmes, he does this really stupid Batman and Superman like calling each other out, and it's just like, it's dark, sarcastic, insulting humor, and it's something I find so funny because it's so ridiculous. That can kick it out for me. Right. And so if I can make it ridiculous and funny, for me, that works. Some people might need to make it soft and I don't even have an example for it because I can't make stuff. I can't make stuff soft and move through it. I've tried really, really hard to make stuff soft so I can move through it, and it just never works. I always feel bad for myself and like it's the weirdest thing. So I don't go there. But maybe you have an example of being soft. I would love to hear that, where it can take that emotion out. I would love to hear that, because it expands us, right? And so co-regulating an emotion like shame, being like, there is something here for me, and I'm not going to feel bad about who I am. And it's like, yeah, okay, I ate it there a little bit, but there's stuff here for me, and I can move through this, and I can play with this. Those are definitely ways to move through shame and change, like little Pop-Tarty ones. But what happens when it's part of your energy field? What happens when it's part of your master energy? Right? I personally find there's usually about 5 emotions that are really in our master energy, and it deals with our foundation and who we are. You might have more than that. You might have less than that. But they're things that definitely come through, and they're how we feel about ourselves, and they're how we've built our lives on. And shame's one of those ones, if it's built in your master energy, man, it's just going to come tumbling down all the time. Like all the time. It's just who you are it's going to kind of crumble all the time. Like there's a lot of self-doubt, and there's a lot of this, that, and the other thing. But changing a master emotion takes completely changing how you see yourself and how you feel about yourself. It's the decision of it's kind of bad, maybe I don't really deserve this. It's like everything's always wrong with me. Maybe people don't like me. How come things aren't always working out for me? And it's like a general feeling of not liking who you are, being ashamed of who you are. And zero am I calling people out or shaming you for feeling this way, because it happens very, very naturally. And for whatever reason that your soul had in engaging shame, or that the human had in engaging shame, because nothing in this world or in this universe, meaning your created projection of a hologram out in front of you so you can play out an experience on this playground we call planet Earth, nothing goes to waste. Listen, I don't know why mosquitoes are around. Not my favorite thing, but they're around because they're needed. Right? Flies, same thing. Flies and fruit flies. Like I don't know what it is with these insects, but like whatever their reason, they're here and they have a purpose, just like shame would. Just like if you've coded it as like a little pop-up or a little Pop-Tart. I don't know why I'm using Pop-Tart. That's cute. Feels good. or if you've coded it as your master energy, there's a good reason for it. And if we've coded something as a master energy as a child, we needed it, excuse me, to hide our authentic selves. So a lot of the times we've had to hide our authentic selves for love in order to fit in to where we are, because without that, we wouldn't have been able to stay with our family. I have an entire teaching on this, on what happens when we come into our families and how we have to actually sacrifice the soul version of us for love and to fit in. We tune ourselves to the energy. So if you're kind of like, if you're a deep explorer like I am and love to know the reasons why, then I definitely have a teaching for you on that. But when we come in, we have to code ourselves to the environment, otherwise we leave. And we need, as the human child needs to be taken care of. So it goes through and it codes itself to the energy around it. Whoever it is, you could have picked it up from there. But whatever the shame was, you might have coded it so you could stay in that family, but you also might have just coded it so you could have like specific life events on this planet. Because without that shame, you wouldn't have them. And the humans are so interesting. When we're really confined, like when we got those chains on us, man, and we grow, we find out how we can break them. For a long time, we will wait for other people to bring us the key. That is a really fun indicator of shame too. I love doing these classes because like so much cool stuff just like comes out here, right? But it's like, that's a really big indicator if you've got the shame shackles on, right? If you are shackled anywhere and you're looking outside of you for like other examples or other people or other things to come bring you the key, it's because you're not ready, right? There comes a point where you're like, screw this, and you just go. It's like that elephant chained to the little plastic chair at the circus because they chained it on a stake, and it's like, oh snap, I can't go anywhere. And then you chain it to a freaking plastic chair and it's like, well, can't go anywhere. But that elephant in reality could just walk off with that little chair. I would actually like to see that. That would be pretty funny. But that's what you're like, right? And so we chain ourselves to these really weird things so we can release ourselves and feel really, really great about it and become something different. Now, I mean, in the moment when you got it, it doesn't feel that way. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, what kind of freaking joke is this, right? Like, not a funny one, but it's one of those things. It's one of those things that breaking it feels great. And you do that by deciding, I'm not going to feel ashamed of this. I'm just not going to be mad at myself for this. And in fact, I'm going to see this as a yeah moment, right? Like as a yes, I did that. I did that on purpose. I felt that way on purpose. I'm so proud of this. And now look at who I am. And so really great examples. Teach from my own life, honestly, because I went through all of this stuff. All of it, right? It's the only reason I teach it is because I went through it and I moved through it. Growing up in the environment that I did, I became a very, very needy child, quite neglected, very needy. And I got this ability to pull from my primary caregiver to pull love from her. And I had to because she wasn't able to express it freely. And so I figured out how to pull it. And in the human experience, it's an energy of need, but that needy was really, really great for me to pull it from her, right? It's like I could draw it out of her really, really well. And becoming that, because I became that needy and it was so strong, it doesn't just have the gift of being needy, it also has an evolved gift. So, an emotion isn't just one thing. Where's that? I have a book. It's upstairs. Okay. So shame, like, let me organize these thoughts here. The emotion of needy, it's a fear-based thing, but it also evolves into self-sufficiency and to a deep well of always being taken care of. You can't do one thing without the other here. So cool. Oh, so cool. It's like a whole teaching in itself. But with that neediness, another gift was developed. Now, like, trust me, like the needy one was like overdeveloped. Like I was like Popeye with one friggin' spinach arm, right? And the needy one was like, or no, like the empowered one was like super weak. But moving into that empowerment and being self-sufficient, giving myself what I needed, not refusing help from other people. We're not talking about like that crazy, like I'm doing everything by myself. No, but like being like, oh, okay, I can draw that from inside of me, right? Like I can bring that energy and I can draw that from inside of me. But it would, for a long time, I was really ashamed about how incredibly needy I was and how like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing, like how stupid could it be? But that's that shame showing up. Like, how embarrassed would I be that like I was that way? And so engaging with people through my adult life, like this would show up in different places. And I'd run away from being like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I just entered that pattern. Like how ridiculous is this? Like I'm an adult, I shouldn't, right? Like all of these kind of things showing that, right? There's still shame showing up in who I was. But when I sat down and I was like, no, you know what? I'm in this energy. I am owning it. I am finding the friggin' gift in it. And when I found that gift in it, that's when it was like, oh my gosh, because I was so now in my healing work, now I have the ability to see really, really deep into people and I can pull their strength out of them and what their inner child needs. It's like, and sometimes the stuff is unreachable and unknowable to the person who's experiencing it. But man, I'm like, here it is. Oh, I'm going to bring it out of you. Right. And so it's like this really, really helpful gift. But while I'm ashamed of being needy, I don't have access to that other thing. Because it's like, if you're needy here and you're ashamed of it, but then there's like, there's your block. You can't be authentic. And your authenticity is the growth. It's like that huge part of your soul is like, oh yeah, baby, I'm over here. I got all these super cool powers, but you ain't paying attention to them because you're too busy paying attention to shame. Or like, sucks to be you. I'm not gonna wait for you, right? Like it's just always like growing and moving on. Like, clearly mine's like sarcastic and odd, but whatever. I love it. And so it's like, it's that cycle, right? And so, and I know moving from here and like, you like hit your head on that shame block so many times, but just kind of like moving through it, right? I don't tell people to go over stuff. I don't no, like you can't pack your backpack enough for this stuff. I'm telling you to just fucking blow through it, right? And so these are the things that dissolve shame, is deciding that you're, oh yeah, I'm proud of this. I'm owning this. I'm being fun of this. I'm being proud of this. And it feels really unnatural to own the stuff that we really haven't, like it feels kind of gross, actually. It feels kind of icky. I was talking about this with my girlfriend the other day and how I was leaning into a pattern. I'm like, it feels disgusting. And she's like, yeah, it probably does because you're so used to the other patterns. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. And so shame. I'm so excited that you have it. I'm so excited that you have it, right? And I'm so excited for what it's brought into your life and how your soul's expanded. Now, the only thing is, we got to get you from that inner child. You get to work that. You get to play with that. You get to like take that and mold it and decide that you're, oh yeah, in your life, wherever that has shown up for you. And so if it's your master energy, it means you're everything you've been waiting for. I'm an all in to who I am. I'm going to see everything I need from this. I'm like, happy to be me. It's like, well, it's kind of hard to get to at first, right? But it's like, I'm just going to bring this in. I'm going to feel really, really, really good about it. I'm going to stop being embarrassed. I'm going to, well, maybe not stop it. Maybe I'm going to play around with it a little bit. And like, maybe I'm going to move through it a little bit and see what kind of gifts are on the other side of embarrassment. Because there's so much here waiting for us. And it's so exciting. And when you move through this thing, then all of a sudden a whole new world opens up for you because you got a new pair of glasses on, baby, right? It's like, come on, do this. Be weird with me. Come on. I know you can do it. I know you can. I feel like that lady at Romper Room. Did anybody of you, any like 80s kids watch that where she pulled up that mirror and she's like, I can see Sally and Billy and Bobby. And listen, never did she say Tanya. And welcome to, right? This was one of those things where I coded shame. I was like, oh shit, she didn't see me. I must not be good. Accidental. There's a little Pop-Tart, right? But like, I feel like that lady right now. But anyway, come be weird with me. Be weird with me. It's like, put these glasses on. I do this with my kids all the time. Make a fist, right? Like, what can you see? Nothing. Well, I can see like a weird little stuff out of my peripheral vision, but if I like open it up here, oh, hey, look at that. I can see myself on camera. Okay. And oh, more. Yeah. Oh, hey. Oh, wait a second. Oh, there's cool stuff here. It's cool. There's cool stuff here, but you still like got them on and you take them off. You're like, oh. Right? Everything changes. So cool. Hear that stuff. Now, you know the deal. I want to hear from you. I want to hear if you have this in your life. I want to hear if you've got examples of this on how you deal with it. I want to know what you do with this, because when there's interaction, man, it gets so much bigger and it gets so much more fun. I love it. There's another one of my shame superpowers is always being able to talk to people, right? More. But the more we interact, the bigger it gets and the better it gets. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you think about the shame topic. If you have it, if you've recognized anything different, what helps you, if you have other topics that you want to hear, I want to hear it all. And I want to say thank you for spending this chunk of time with me. I don't even know how long it was. Thank you for watching my weird. Thank you for expanding who you are and listening to your souls knocking. And until the next time, think deep, dream big, and spread light.